I'm Clara B. Jones, and this time I'd like to talk about the rather fashionable idea that humans are cooperative breeders. I think that we need to consider alternative hypotheses and that we very carefully need to test what we mean in humans by cooperative breeding. Technically, a cooperatively breeding unit is one in which there are two classes, a helper class and a breeding class. The breeders are usually small in number, if not a single breeder in a reproductive unit. Helpers are often females, if not usually, and frequently relatives of the breeder or the few breeders. Implied here is that a cooperatively breeding unit has high skew, so that breeders are the only reproductives and helpers are themselves non-reproductives. Hrdy has presented in a classic paper a description, a review of the literature on allomothering or alloparenting, in which someone other than a parent assists a mother in raising offspring. In some of the literatures, such as the social insect literature, we call these alloparents or allomothers helpers. I am suggesting that we are not dealing with cooperative breeding when we discuss humans, because it seems unlikely to me that, first of all, seems unlikely that we are only going to have one form of breeding unit in the species, particularly given the acknowledged flexibility of human behavior. It seems that when we investigate the structure, the composition of breeding units in humans, we are going to find within and between societies a broad range of conformations, of configurations, of compositions. Also, we want to consider for humans how stable these interactions are. As for cooperation in general, it may be relatively straightforward to induce helping, but it may be very difficult to maintain helping over time and space. So we want to consider that. We want to also consider the fact that helpers may not in fact be benign to offspring and by implication to the mother of the young in the breeding unit. There may be exploitation on the part of helpers, and also helpers may not choose, quote unquote choose, to assist the reproduction of the breeding pair or the breeding mother, in to be specific. We may have a case in which the mother, for example, pays the helper to stay, as some literature suggests. And in humans, of course, we must consider the fact that often helpers are themselves helping in exchange for finances. Finally, I'd like to suggest or emphasize again that we need to test alternative hypotheses. We very much need projects, research programs in which we explore the composition and the structure of breeding units. And we must understand that in order to claim cooperative breeding in a breeding unit, we must show high skew. And helpers, quote unquote, or allomothers or alloparents must themselves be non-reproductives. Finally, there is a very large literature on child abuse, child damage, and child fatalities perpetrated by our parents, often boyfriends or stepfathers of the breeding mother. So we want to consider that possibly severe damage is perpetrated by our parents upon human offspring. We must consider that in addition to actual helping or benign relationships between between mothers, offspring, and our parents. So I hope that we initiate a critical and skeptical research project to determine the range of breeding units and compositions in breeding units in the human species. Thank you.